Hey guys, welcome back to another one here on the channel. In today's video, we are diving into figuring out lithium ion. A few of you have recommended and suggested that I go ahead and build a pack and see what kind of performance these things offer. Well, today we're doing exactly that. So here is a Tenpower 50XG 21700 size 5000 milliamp hour battery. Now pay attention to that 90 amp mark. We're going to come back to that here very shortly. What we're going to do is we're going to follow along with this test just like we do with our lithium polymer packs. And if you like what you see, you will want to subscribe because we're going to continue diving into further details about these lithium ions and providing further tests to see exactly how they perform with real data. I know I have to throw this disclaimer out there because there will be someone in the comment section that brings light to this. I have soldered the cells together using a 1mm by 5mm copper bar, and I did this because this is the lowest internal resistance that you can add to the cells themselves. If you go ahead and weld the cells, you're going to get higher amounts of internal resistance to the pack itself because of the materials that you have to use in order to spot weld. However, with this soldering approach, you have to be extremely careful and make certain that you don't overheat the cells, otherwise bad things can happen. The safe recommendation here is to weld the cells, and we're going to look at that in the future. I have a really cool welder to weld cells together as well. Let's get started and jump right in by first talking about the price here. So this is a $4 cell. You can buy 4 of these at $4, $16 USD total, plus your build materials. You might need tools too, but if you continue to build these, then I would personally disregard the cost of the tools themselves, just the supplies that get it done. Now I've made a 3D printed housing for it so that I can line up the cells the way I want them, and I'm going to further develop that 3D printed design to make it even better than what I have here today. One of the big reasons I wanted to test these cells is because I think they are doing the exact same thing that the lithium polymer guys are doing. You can see here up on the screen multiple different cells that are available here on the website. And if you take a look at this particular one, it is offered up as a 90 amp continuous cell versus the others that show maybe 10, 30, 40, and 50 amps continuous. When you go in and click this particular Tenpower cell, what you'll see is this is actually a 40 amp continuous rated cell with a 90 amp continuous rated provision, which means you really have to have a temp probe on it, monitoring it at 90 amps up to that 75 degrees Celsius mark, and that is when you have to cut the cell off. So not really continuous at that 98 mark at all. Another thing about this Tenpower cell is it does show that it was 4 milliohm in resistance. I know what the 4 milliohm resistance cells perform at. We're going to go ahead and compare that 4 milliohm AC tested internal resistance against our charger DC based resistance here within this video. Here is the RC calc sheet. You can download a copy of this for yourself if you are a member of the RCexplained Insights access on the radiocontrolinfo.com website. I'm going to leave a link in the description below if you want to check that out. What we're going to do here is we're going to jump right into the LiPo calcs and take a look at this. Now you can see we've had that been playing there. The Tenpower 50XG does come out to 7.3 milliohm. This is a far cry from the less than 4 milliohm that it showed on the website. Now I know and expect this to perform exactly like a 7 milliohm pack would. So I have a bunch of values here on the page. We have 10 milliohms on the DXF battery. We're going to be comparing that battery here very shortly. The Zeee Premium showed a 6.69, so it was actually a slight bit better than the Tenpower 50XG 5000, which comes in at 7.31. Also note that these batteries, these cells of lithium ion, they are smaller and higher in density, but because of that, that means they have less area to dissipate waste heat, which means we would expect that they get hotter quicker. And we'll see exactly how that pans out in our test here. So let's jump right into placing in the capacity here at 5,000 milliamp hour. And then we're going to show the average cell internal resistance at 7.31 for this pack that we built. Now here it is. It shows that our battery pack's calculated real C rating is actually about 13.1 C, and it does show that a maximum continuous current of 65 amps. Now I'd expect this is what we use for a lithium polymer battery pack, which has a lot more surface area to get rid of this waste heat. I would expect that that maximum continuous current of 65 amps is going to be high. But stay tuned, because in some future video, we're going to show exactly what this pack can do up to that maximum 75 degrees Celsius. Now let's take a look at the performance graphs and charts that we ended up getting. Here's the first graph that shows the overall discharge curve of our test here that we did today. Now this was a 105 amp load test. However, in order to hit that actual current, you have to have a good amount of voltage in order to do so. You could see right away when we started up this test that we had a decent amount of voltage there, up over the up around that 4.2 volt mark, and then it sagged down here, and we can see it right beside and under that 3.5 volts per cell mark, which is quite low. And because of this, it ran all the way to the end here, which is our voltage cutoff typically used for lithium polymer packs. Now, because this is a lithium ion, I also have the data where this continued beyond that typical voltage cutoff, and I did things a little bit differently. So we're going to take a look at that graph here at the very end just to see how it went. And that one in particular went to the temperature cutoff. So looking at this, I also added a whole bunch of tags here on the specific data points, and this just shows the time in seconds and then the amount of current that we're actually pulling at that particular moment. What you can see here is that we're pulling 93 amps there at 1.5 seconds, 4.5 seconds in, we're at 90.8, then we at 7.5 seconds at 90.1, and then at 12 seconds we are under that 90 amp continuous mark already. So within 12 seconds we're under that 90 amp, which was a specification there up on the cell's data sheet. And let's now jump into the next chart, which shows the information and compares this up against a high performance lithium polymer pack. However, this lithium polymer pack has been the worst tested pack that we've tested on the channel so far. Here you can see all the lithium polymer packs that we've tested. And if you want to download a copy of this battery sheet so you can see all the data behind it, you'll have to head over to the radiocontrolinfo.com website and be part of the battery benchmark squad tier. Now let's take a look at how our Tenpower pack compares up against the DXF here, which is a lithium polymer battery. We have two different connectors. It does use the EC5 on the DXF and AS150 on the Tenpower. I don't think this is going to make much of a difference here. Now the total milliamp hour that we were able to get out of the pack until we hit that 3.3 volt cutoff is 612.6 there on the Tenpower and 250 on the DXF. Now looking at the energy per cell, you can see we got quite a bit more here on the Tenpower versus our DXF. And then the average cell wattage here, you can see that it actually does a little bit more poor. And this is simply because of the very short period of time that these packs, both of them, are running. A lot of our packs on the channel perform for quite a bit of time, and we're able to get better data when it comes to the average cell wattage because they hold better amounts of voltage. Voltage at the 10 second for both these packs was 339 on the Tenpower and 329 on the DXF there. And then the milliamp hour to 3.5, a little bit higher for the Tenpower, and the time there slightly higher, very insignificant when we're talking about that 3.5 volt mark and even the 3.6 volt mark. All of this is purely insignificant as a comparison. These packs very much perform very similarly and have a significant amount of voltage drop under a 90 amp load or so. Now let's jump into the next graph and charts here. This is the Tenpower pack that I've built compared up against the temperature limited. So one is voltage limit and the other is temperature limit. We just went through the voltage limited data. So that is here, and it's going to be in the gray color, and in the blue color, this is the information based off of the temperature limited data. And that means here for the total milliamp hour that we were able to extract out of that pack before we hit the temperature cutoff was 1433 milliamp hour. At that mark, we were at that 75 degrees Celsius point, and we had to cut the entire run. The energy per cell that we're getting out of that pack is 284. This is per cell in measured as watt minutes. The average cell wattage we got was 288. Now we're dealing with a longer period of time beyond this voltage limited region. The voltage at the 10-second mark obviously was the same, and then all the other values are the same as well. The key point here on this particular chart is that a voltage limited test means we can get 613 usable milliamp hour out of the pack under that 90 amp load, and we're going to get 1433 milliamp hour load if instead of voltage limited, we are temperature limited. Now, the next thing that I want to do here is work more towards that continuous draw, that continuous current point of this pack, and see exactly how much power we can pull out of the pack without it overheating. We're going to do that and run it up to that maximum 75 degrees Celsius. And we're going to compare the amount of time and capacity that we can pull out of that pack and compare that up against the continuous load measured in current and see exactly what that looks. And keep in mind, all the data that we end up going through, you can download that on the radiocontrolinfo.com website by becoming a member in the appropriate tier. Hope you enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for the rest of them that come out with lithium ion performance data. Well guys, that pretty well does it for this video. Like the video if you do. Don't forget to hit that sub button, and thanks a lot for watching. See you in that next one.